And welcome to another tournament in the TeaBreak. I'm Satar from Britwatch Sports.
And my name is René Denfeld from MyTennis.
And by now you've probably realised that we have more rain. Another day of rain. I think, what is that, 4 days out of 6?
Quite a lot of days. Quite a lot of days where we've had at least a bit of a break. I mean, it's not a lot of rain today. It was just a bit... It was fairly drizzly today throughout the day, but perfectly playable. But it started pouring down a bit more at 8 p.m. So, just couldn't continue play. And there were a couple of very long matches, particularly the opener on Chatrier. So there's fairly little chance of getting everything done, even without the rain, before the sun was going to set. So, yeah.
But that doesn't mean to say that we didn't have a fair bit of drama. Probably the most surprising, I think, of the two number 4 seeds that went awry was Alina Svitolina coming into the French Open. She had, I would say, probably the best form. She repeated her win in Rome. She looked pretty solid. Many people had her as a hot favourite to win a maiden slam here. Where do you think it all went wrong for her?
I don't know. I think she was a little bit off her rhythm today. Just what she actually said impressed. I think she gave a fairly astute analysis of the match. She was a little bit off her rhythm today, just not as sharp as she probably would have needed to be against rising star of the past 12 months, Mihaela Buzanescu, who probably is at a tenth of what her ranking was 12 months ago. I think I'm not quite sure about the exact ranking, but she was somewhere way outside the top 300, and now she's inside the top 30. First time that she's seeded at a slam, first time she's winning matches at a slam, and she's made her way into the 4th round. So massive win for her. Played really well. Tricky lefty to play, and for Svitolina, I think it's unfortunate for her in the sense that I think she carries around these the question marks regarding the slams a little bit longer, and I'm not sure that was a loss due to, I don't know, question marks at a slam. It was just a loss, but I had her as a pick for the title as well, mainly because she had I wouldn't say a soft, probably that was the softest section of the draw to me, the third quarter. And now it's going to be in semi-finalist will be Buzanescu, Madison Keys, who took out Naomi Osaka, or Yulia Putintseva against or Barbara Strycova, the latter two contesting a 4th round match that I'm very much looking forward to, as you might imagine.
Yeah, I mean, Svitolina, there was only a handful of us asking English questions in her press, and she's always very gracious, I find. She did acknowledge that Buzanescu played really, really well. But she also find that she's one of these players that is also very down on herself. And, I'm actually in the middle of writing the piece where it's like, I just can't get through these tough moments. I don't think she's quite at the level of, oh my God, I'm never going to get past the quarterfinal. And a quarterfinal in a slam is nothing to be sniffed at. It's not like it's, never getting past the 1st round of a slam.
Or never having beaten a top 50 player.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh. Oh, René. But, I think if she has another couple, I think if she rounds out the year at Wimbledon, which I don't think is, I think that's where that was, I think she's going to, I think it's going to start to really stuff up her mind if she doesn't actually make an advance at some stage. Maybe the US Open will be where she does it, but I think if she goes through 2 more slams finishing early, I think next year the pressure will be immense.
I think she's 23, so I find it very tough to overthink. She's only been in the top 10 for a year, so it's not to the where I'm like, okay, yes, the results haven't been. Yes, she should have made semi-final here last year when she played Halep. Yes, she probably, with her ranking, there should be like a deeper run at the slam at some point. But I'm not too worried for her. She's generally, she's too steady and too consistent, or has been too steady and too consistent over the course of the past year for me to think that she'll have a massive downward spiral or that something will go really wrong for her. She's just too solid for that, and I think she'll be a fixture in the top 10 for the next few years. So I think it'll happen over soon or long. Yes, the pressure is going to mount a little bit if things don't click for her, maybe at the US Open or at Wimbledon, then it's going to be tougher, obviously, getting into next year and once again having those questions about no slam semi-final. But I think she'll be fine long term.
Yeah, I mean she's a very consistent player, and I think that's why she's I think that's why the pressure is building. But she always looks so forlorn. You just want to be like, oh, it's okay, it's all right. And on the other side, of course, we had Grigor Dimitrov bowing out. Now this came as no surprise to anyone.
No, I don't think so. I'm not even sure it came as a surprise to him. I say this without any spite or anything at all. I mean, I picked him to bow out early. I asked him, did you feel like a fourth seed here at all? And he was like, well, I don't think it matters that much. And to be fair, he did run into one of the trickier players in that 25 to 32 brackets in Fernando Verdasco, who can turn it on the right day. And today he played really rather well. But I think Dimitrov also, as he said, he lost his cool after losing that first set. Using his beloved knee to destroy his racket. So he was disappointed. Of course, it's never gone. Paris has never gone well for him, or it's never gone well for him here at Roland Garros. So as he said, Paris has always been good to me, but somehow I've never been able to quite turn it around or to quite work it out here yet. So bit of analysis to do for him after just on the entire clay season, because I don't feel that he's had any traction at all so far. So
yeah, I read that in his transcript, and I thought, well, the turnaround between now and a surface that does suit him, that he has had success at, is so short. What is the point of this introspectiveness? I appreciate, though, he must have just come in, and right now it's still quite sore. But if I was him and his team, I would be like, right, okay, we need to go full tilt for the grass, because if it's going to do any damage, it's there. But I saw the answer, the first answer.
He was quite introspective with it, in the sense of like, I actually think it's good. It's good because he should be worried, or he should be thinking about like what the hell is going on with his clay results of the past 2 years. Because I know, remembering that meltdown in Istanbul 2 years ago, last year the clay season wasn't anything to shout home about. This year it's always like he's playing okay, but he's not playing well enough to get any results. So for someone who wants to be like within, or who aspires to be slam finals, winning slams maybe even one day in the top 5, it's not, to be honest, it's not good enough. And I think that's something that annoys him quite a bit, understandably so.
So tell me about the flip side of the coin, which is the number 2 seeds, who had considerably more luck, relatively speaking.
Great. Well, yeah, one of them had luck. The other one just got through her match very quickly. That's Caroline Wozniacki, who's been cruising into the second week on what's quite clearly her least favorite surface, but no problems at all with Pauline Parmentier today. And we'll play Daria Kasatkina next, which is a far trickier opponent, and someone who's gotten wins over Wozniacki on other surfaces. So I'm curious to see how that's going to pan out, and if Wozniacki can continue to ride that sort of momentum that she has. But I think the person the most dramatic match of the day was Damir Dzumhur's loss to Alexander Zverev. Dzumhur served for the match at 5-4 in the fourth set, and had him once again like at the edge in the fifth set, because Zverev just couldn't sustain his 4-2 lead that he had in that set. So Zverev finally breaks his never beating a top 50 opponent duck at a slam, and makes the fourth round here for the first time. Yeah,
I mean, it is impressive that he's finding a way to win these 5-setters. Obviously on clay, though, too many 5-setters, as we've seen in the past, could really catch up with you by the time the second week comes. Well, let's see how it was. I mean, I'm quietly more impressed. I still think that even if he made the final, he'd still get his behind handed to him by Nadal. But I think this is going in the right direction for him. Were you at his press conference? What did he say?
Yeah, he's just here. He said any win's a good win for me and Clay. Winning 5. Like, I'm not worried about him from like a physical point of view because he's one of the players who got his third round match done today. So he will have a full day of rest tomorrow, whereas others will have to step out again tomorrow and then on Sunday, and so things could get a little more difficult for them. He said, look, my body held up quite well over those last 10 sets entirely, so I felt good today. I'm more worried about like his tennis a little bit, to be fair, because he was missing a lot of shots long. He was missing. I just again had some struggles around the net whenever Jumho drew him into the net, especially in the first half of the match or so. Things got a little bit tricky. He got better towards the end of the match and had a couple of good moments at the net as well. But I think he just needs to pick it up. And for some reason, I feel like for him, the space behind Chatrier, or the space of the court, I'm not quite sure he's come to terms with it yet. I felt it was something he struggled with last year against Verdasco as well, and I felt the same today, that it's just in terms of the geometry of how long that court is comparatively to the actual confinement of the lines. It's a tricky one. I feel like the more he might play on there, the more he might come to terms with it.
Well, it will be interesting to watch over the week and reassess. What else happened this week? This week. What am I talking about
this
today?
Week as well.
We're going to get to this week at the end of this, but what happened today?
We had Team and Nishikori making it through their fourth round matches fairly easily. Team losing one set, but Nishikori cruising against Simon. The two of them set up a very interesting fourth round match, with Nishikori on paper, at least in the head-to-head, being, I believe, the clear favorite, unless I'm completely missing something here. But considering it's Clay, considering that Team is probably the player who's just had more traction. I think Nishikori is in fairly good form, but I feel like Team's been able to play. He just has a few more matches in him with Nishikori. He's also had like some injury issues again, like in Barcelona this year. So I think my pick would be Team, but Nishikori's played really well today. So I think it's a good match. I
agree. I think Team's just been a little bit more consistent. I mean, we all annually fear for Nishikori and his assorted limbs. So, but I definitely think it's got all the makings of being a really entertaining match if they're both on form.
And that's basically it for today's matches. Because for tomorrow, so this is the slightly scary part. Luca Pui and Karen Khachanov got rained off, so they'll be second on after Gabini Muguruza and Sam Stosur on Chatrier. Goffer, Monfils got rained off, so they will be on second after Fonini, Edmund on Suzanne Longland. And Fonini Edmund could be a very long drawn out affair.
I think that's 4 at the very least.
I feel so as well. Kvitova Kontaveit got moved to court 18, so that's their last assignment. So they will be on court 18 tomorrow, along with Rybarikova Zurenko, Schwarzman Choric, and Halep Petkovic. I don't really want to talk about Halep as the world number one on the women's side being shoved out to the fourth biggest court. I find that questionable, but also tricky. It's a tricky day tomorrow, and
we'll have to see what we can't really comment until the revised schedule comes out. So we could see a bit of a shift.
But
this is a former semi-final round, lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, it is ludicrous. God knows I'm British, and I'd happily run the flagpole any given day and twice on Sundays. But this seems to be even more outrageous than Wimbledon is towards the women, and it surprises me because you kind of expect it from the All England club, because they've traditionally always focused on the men. But I'm surprised here. I'm genuinely surprised.
I think it's just another sign that the women's matches in the third round are just that good, because there's no clear favoritism here. You've got 2 men's matches, 2 women's matches on Chatrier and Longland. You've got 2 men's matches on court 1, then Kerber Burtons and the doubles match, the women's doubles match, which I find
And that's the one I'd say bump
bump on 18, and of course,
I mean, I'd bump all the doubles to the other matches and move those to
the big ones, yeah. But yeah, it's like if you're here tomorrow and you've got a grounds pass, you are very lucky.
Bonanza.
Yes, it's good. It's very good. You've got some fun. Like you've got, for example, also Mertens and Gavrilova on court 7 as a third match. But in general, Schwarzman Choric should be good. Halep Petkovic on 18 should be pretty good. Kvitova Kontaveit. So if you camp out on court 18, I don't think you'll be too disappointed. So looking like a heavy date for tomorrow. I think the question is just, are we going to get through it? And I'm not sure.
Well, we promise to try not to sound quite so world weary by the time we get to the second week, but we can't guarantee anything. But as always, thank you for your patience. You have been listening to Satar
and René Denfeld.
And we'll be back tomorrow.
Bye-bye.